I'm delighted today to be talking to Glenn Hughes and Doug Aldrich from the Dead Daisies, because, gents, a new album, a new chapter. The circle has turned again.
Yeah.
The revolving doors turned again, and there's a new lineup and a new album, Holy Ground, which is out early in the coming year, 2021,
Yeah,
January 21.
January 20th, something like that. Yeah.
22nd. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been sitting on the album now, Andy, we finished it in January, and like everyone else has been sitting on their albums for so long, but now it's time to release it.
And Glenn, there's a great parallel, because when Deep Purple started originally, they were called Roundabout, because there was this idea of like a collective of musicians. So I kind of love the idea, the spirit of what David's put together with Dead Daisies. Is a similar roundabout. Everyone's still friends, and this is a new lineup. So tell me about your thoughts coming into this new era.
Well, I've known Doug forever. He played with my band 5 years ago, and I love Doug dearly. I did meet the first incarnation of the Dead Daisies when I did a massive festival in Australia about 7 years ago. I met Richard and John, the singer, and Richard Fortus and Marco. So since then they've had, lineup changes. There's been a lot of people coming and going. So the idea with the Dead Daisies is it has been that collective of changing from time to time. So when they asked me to come in, number one, it was important for me to be friendly and I'm friends with Doug, so I wanted to make sure we all could be friends and dinner companions and have fun together, and that's what we've done. So it's been a great introduction.
And Doug, for your standpoint, now you're actually one of the longest standing current members of the Dead Daisies, because you joined before Dean did. What was your perspective on kind of the lineup change and your good friend Glenn coming in?
Well, it was basically, we had been really busy for a long time and working a lot, and I think that it was a couple of the guys wanted to, kind of focus on some other aspects of their career. So we got on a little hiatus, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And of course, in the back of my mind, I was, not sure, but I was hoping for that we'd find somebody that was going to bring something new to the band and something fresh. And then I got a call from management that they said, what do you think about if, how would you feel if Glenn was the guy? And I said, that would be insane. Is that really happening? And they were like, yeah, we just wanted to get your take on it. I'm like, man, I'll tell you what, I couldn't have thought of a better idea. I mean, when you make a change, especially at frontman vocals, it's never worked to try and, replace somebody with something that's similar, or to try and maintain whatever sound. It's better to keep it fresh, and start fresh and bring a new chapter. And that's exactly what we got when we got Glenn. Obviously musically, I love playing with Glenn. Our styles they're different, but they're also similar. And I love his bass playing. It's fun to play with. So that was a no-brainer. And of course, he's the voice of rock. He's an amazing songwriter. So I was like, if you guys can make that happen. And I stayed out of it. I wanted to pick up the phone and call Glenn right away, but I wanted them to, I wanted to make sure that Glenn was comfortable before. And then eventually he and I talked, and it was like, yeah, this is going to be great. So that was it.
What I loved about, I've heard the album a couple of times now. What I love about it is that it has a personality of its own. There are elements of classic rock. There's elements of kind of the more modern rock, but it has twists and turns. And Glenn, having done Purple, the Revisited tour for a while, and then Black Country Communion, did you kind of have to reset your mindset in terms of the songs that you brought now that this is in a new project?
I mean, I write all the time. I think you know that. So when I write for myself or Black Country Communion, it's different, kind of different, So with the Dead Daisies, I wanted to, number one, listen to the catalog they had done. And they wanted me to, David Lowe wanted me to, reach out and go deeper. To the songs are so important to each and every one of us in the band. So I wrote the songs for what I consider to be the next chapter of the Dead Daisies, without going over anything they maybe have done before. So, but keeping in mind the fan base and what they would appreciate. So we worked very hard on this to make sure it was seamless. So yeah, there are songs that are quite different on this album than anything they've ever done before. But again, it's classic rock. It ticks all the boxes, and we're all very, very happy.
Too, Andy, is that with Glenn coming in, from my perspective, it opened up a whole new area where I wouldn't have approached musically. So there were certain things that I thought, hey, Glenn would really like this, and I started putting my ideas in a box that was with Glenn in mind. It was totally different. Yeah,
it was, again, it's all about the songs, Andy. Everybody you talk to, you've got to have the songs now, because it's all gone wrong. The industry is not like it used to be. You've got nobody putting a bunch of money into it anymore. So we have to have great material, and I think we've got it here. That's great.
So again, listen to the album. It kicks off with the title track, Holy Ground, and that really, it hits ground zero in terms of establishing the sound of what the rest of the album sounds like. Was that one of the first songs that you came up with for this new chapter?
Yeah, I met the guys at Sunset Sound in Hollywood. I played them about 4 or 5 songs, and Doug picked up on Holy Ground immediately, and we decided to record it. Righteous Days, and Holy Ground, we recorded the same week. So when we did Righteous Days and Holy Ground, those are the songs that we wanted to set the benchmark, if you will. You've heard Righteous Days, and now we're going to get to hear Holy Ground. So I think that was the blueprint of the foundation of the new Dead Daisies next level, if you will. So, and we're all very happy about that. So we just, like I say, we built this thing that's built on a strong foundation, and we're about to take everything on.
And I think people haven't heard this before that kind of curious. There's most definitely a groove, but there's not a lot of funk, I think, Doug, from a guitar standpoint, it's a very riff-driven album. I hear elements of ZZ Top, elements of AC/DC, but then there's also some Iommi-style riffs in there as well. It's really chunky rhythms.
Yeah, the word funk is overused, as you know. I'd rather have the word groove. You can imagine, which the band, I think, I am a groove guy, groove bass player. So that's what they wanted. So, we got to, we got together and made these songs, Dead Daisies. They sound like the Dead Daisies, So, yeah, we made sure everything molded together.
And to your point, Andy, is that there's a basically, as I said, there was some options with Glenn that maybe we wouldn't have pursued in the past. That stuff like No Other and Chosen and Justified, Bustle and Flow. These are things that maybe we wouldn't have gone for. But like, for example, certain things I just envisioned, Glenn would like this, and then I envisioned Glenn's such a great front man, maybe have him lay out on playing bass on certain sections and just sing, just focus on singing, let the band carry. Because keep in mind too, this is the first time that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, this is the first time with 2 guitar players.
Yes.
So it's kind of a new thing, that we could use to our advantage to give him a rock solid bed to lie on.
Yeah, that was great. With Like No Other, one of my favorite songs, and Bustle and Flow, there's moments there where I don't play, and it is a great thing for me to express myself without the bass. But I'm a singing bass player, But there's a lot. Again, Andy, there was a lot of preparation and I think there was more pre-production on this album than any other Dead Daisies album. If I'm right, is that right, Doug?
Yeah.
I think so. And for me, it's always been about preparation. I don't like to go to the studio without any lyrics written. It never happens, thank God. So I write multiple sets of lyrics. I was going crazy in France writing lyrics. So again, once again, it's work, serious hustle. It's and get up again and work again. That's what we do.
And yeah, what I loved in Like No Other, you had that great line. So feel my bass line.
Yeah, you know, when I was, you know, we record live, and I do a lot of vocals live too. And as I'm actually singing that song, making the words up as I always do, I kept repeating, "Can you feel my bass line?" I'm going, wait a minute, there's a hook here, you know. And after when I heard the song in the control room, I'm going, that could be, you know, a title for the song, Like No Other. Can you feel my bass line? And that's what it is. So I'm glad you like it. One of my favorites.
And Doug, I think the new single, insofar as the thing called single now, is the, I keep wanting to say Muscle and Blood, no, Bustle and Flow, and the guitar playing on it is very Jimmy Pagey in terms of like the grinding, heavy, melodic riffs.
Thanks, man. I mean, I love Jimmy Page. I never thought about it, but what I was thinking about was that would be a great riff that Glenn could sing on. And then when we got together in France, we kind of, that song wasn't really, Glenn said, "Hey, I don't want to sing on that. Let's just make that the riff. We'll figure out, we'll rewrite the song together." So we put it, we rewrote it and made that into the riff, which kind of gives it that like
signature
thing. But we got stuck, and we were usually.
Trust me, we got stuck on this one, Chris.
Yeah, usually
Andy,
songs usually come really. It's pretty simple, you know. You come up with something and it writes itself eventually. Of course, Glenn goes really deep on the lyrics and does a lot of extra thought process on make sure that everything's buttoned up. But with that song, we got stuck, and we were in the studio and we tried it. A couple of days, all day long, we tried to rewrite it, and it wasn't happening. And I went to the manager and the producer and I said, "Look, guys, I don't think the flow is going to happen. It's just we've tried everything. It's just not coming together." And the management said, "I love that riff. You guys got to work it out." And I went back to Glenn. I go, "Glenn, we got to try one more time."
We had dinner, Andy, and then we went back in there and finished it. It was, I don't like to be a defeatist, or I work my tail off, you know. So it just you need to break away sometimes and go back to it. So that's what we did, and it worked out great. It's very, very simple. So yeah, it worked.
But if you remember, Glenn, I came up to your room and I'm like, "We got to finish this," and we were sitting there, and you're like, "Damn, we've done everything." I go, "I know, dude. I don't know what else." And then all of a sudden, one of us started going bang, 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 bang.
Right.
And it was like that. And
we
then
needed that chorus. We were
then
short
we
on the
started
chorus,
singing something, and it was like, that's it. That's it. So after dinner, we went in and put it together, and
So I started singing about being in the chateau, and it all fell together. It fell into place pretty well.
What I love, Glenn, is the fact that back in Purple days, you recorded albums at Clearwall Castle, and then you graduated to the Grand Chateau in France.
Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah, what a great place to live and record in the dead of winter. And it was beautiful. It only rained once, which is strange for Europe, isn't it, Andy?
Very much.
But we had a wonderful time there. When you're living and breathing and eating together and making music, and remember, I was the new guy here, so it was very important for me to become a part. I don't have any brothers and sisters in the flesh, so it's important for me to spend my time with people I genuinely care about, and I found myself back home now. It's good stuff.
So you found yourself chosen and justified, which is the next track I wanted to say something about. That that's the one I think it had that kind of swampy southern, almost ZZ Top style groove to start with. But then the middle eight, it goes into like a heavy Black Sabbath churning groove.
Right.
It's completely unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Done deliberately, apparently. So I've always liked to change stuff up. So yeah, I mean, Doug really loved that song when I started singing it. So
yeah, it was like
yeah.
we had this groove, and Glenn just started scatting. I go, don't forget that.
No, I didn't. I got it. You know.
And then you rewrote the chorus a couple times. You
Oh
had it.
man, Andy, seriously now, and I want the world to know this. I wrote 3 different song titles for that song, 3 different sets of lyrics. That song took me a good 3 weeks to complete. When I got home to LA, I went to Burbank every day, and I kept, nah, it's not right, it's not right, it's not right. You know, there's been a few times in my life where I've had a problem with changing stuff, and I wanted to make sure it was the right vibe for the album. And eventually we got it there. So I'm glad I put the effort in.
And in the middle of the album, you have My Fate, which is more of a sort of like not a low key song, but it's like a more of a slow burn type of song. And yet you got a wonderfully measured vocal on it as well.
Mm-hmm. It's a deeper vocal, and again, it's moody, isn't it? And it tells a story, and as all the songs I write on the album do. But it's a song that is different, and it's a dirgy rock, you know, vibe, which the band really haven't had for quite some time. So I thought it was a nice introduction to do something like this.
And to wrap up the album, as we talk about the album, there's a Far Away, which is of all the tracks, the ones that sort of takes us back to kind of the sound of Black Country Communion. It has that kind of Zeppelin vibe to it as well. Was that one that you wrote previously, or was it just in your frame of mind?
Doug, I'm gonna tell him what happened. Andy, we were at the Chateau twice. Andy, about last November, we went into the Chateau in early November. Then I had to break away to do the UK tour. And then I finished the UK tour on the 30th of November. And on the 1st of December, I was in London in a hotel, and I said to myself, I think we need a slower song, and I'm going to see what I can come up with right now at this very moment. So when I get into France, I didn't play it to anybody but Doug, and I asked Doug to come with me, and I played it to him. And he fell in love with what I think he really loved what I did. So a couple of days later, I played it to the guys. And it is a 7.5 minute song. It's different. So I think Days have never had anything quite like this. And it's an epic piece of music. And I think I was so happy that when everybody wanted to record it. It's a beautiful piece of music.
It was basically he just played it on guitar by himself and singing some parts. And I could, I've been through this, I've seen this before, and I've heard this type of thing, and I go, immediately I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is the treatment it's going to be. This is an epic song. And Glenn said, you really like it? I was, dude, that's an epic. That could be the cornerstone track of the album. And it just comes down to how you layer it and build it up and bring it down. And that song it really is a cornerstone piece that picks you up and drops you off somewhere down this long journey that you never thought you were going to go on, but you really enjoyed it,
No, it's a song about life in general, but it's a song about me coming home after being gone for a while and returning to my roots, and it wrote itself. The words wrote off the page. It just wrote itself in a matter of an hour. I wrote the whole bloody lyric, and as I was finishing it, I'm going, I really hope we get to record this song, not just for myself. I think the band would like. This would be a great way to end this album, and great arrangement, great string arrangement on this song, really melodramatic, and it's a song I'm really, really happy about. I'm really happy that everybody fell in love with it, and especially Dougie. Doug was crazy about this song, so thank you.
And I mean, the only shame is that apart from people like myself who have a preview, is that most are going to have to wait till January, apart from hearing the 2 singles that are already out. However, got to tell people that there is a semi-acoustic digital EP that's out, which has got a couple of tracks off the album, and then a couple of cover versions as well. So Who was it that chose the Fortunate Son and 30 Days in the Hole as the 2 cover songs?
Well, we were asked to do it by management, and then Doug came up with an idea to play it more. Just Doug and I, and I was hoping that he would feel the same as I do about the way we approached it. And when he came up with this arrangement for me to sing, I said to him, you couldn't have picked a perfect way to do this. It was like so written for me to sing like that. And it's really stripped back. I sing it lower. I love Steve Marriott, a good friend of mine, but it's my homage to him in a different way to sing it, because you can't, his style is so incredible. So I wanted to do something different. I think it really worked well for us. People loved it. So yeah, why not?
And I suppose we're all crossing fingers that things are going to progress in a positive way. That there were tour dates that got rescheduled for Europe, I think, and there's now tentatively down for February next year. Given that, as you start to think towards them, in terms of mining the songs off, because there are 5 studio albums now. There's a covers album. There's various EPs. Glenn, what are your thoughts about going back into the catalogue? Have you already kind of earmarked?
We've done that, and I think Doug will agree with it. I mean, we've had a meeting about this, everyone. We know what we're going to do. There's a certain amount of songs from the past we're going to do, and there's going to be 8 songs from Holy Ground, and a couple of classics I'll bring from Purple, I guess. So it's going to be a cross collateralization. But again, Andy, you can imagine, everybody, that we've got a new album out here, and we want to promote this album. It means everything to each band member. It means everything to our entire family. So the way forward for me, and I think the band is we have to progress and stay in the moment and promote what we have coming out. It's very, very important.
And Doug, one thing I love seeing is that the dates that they're coming up next year, you'll be teaming up with Kelly, your old friend from Hurricane in Foreigner.
Yeah. We're, just to hit on your point about the thing in February starting, we Glenn would say we're not sure that the world's ready to get back to touring in February. We're going to try our best. There's some good things happening. We all have to get through this winter, but whatever happens, we will absolutely be next year in the UK and in England.
Sure.
It's very, very important to Glenn, especially, obviously, but some of my best memories have been, as you mentioned, about playing Hammersmith and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, regarding getting on the road and playing with Kelly and the Judas Priest guys we got some dates with, it's always fun. The problem is it's just never long enough. We've got a handful of dates with Foreigner. It's going to be a really interesting matchup because it's stylistically a little different than we're a little heavier than that, but those guys are great guys, and looking forward to seeing them. And then Sabbath, that's going to be pretty epic. That's like 2 of the heavyweight singers right there with Rob and Glenn. That's going to be a great night too.
Yeah,
they're all the guys in Priest are very good friends of mine. So
you guys grew up down the street from each other, right?
Yeah, we're both Black Country boys. I love Rob. I've known Rob since the 70s. Good man. Yeah, good close friend.
And I'd be remiss not to mention one man during this call who's very close to both of your hearts. The sadly departed Ronnie James Dio. 10 years, over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Ronnie was very quickly. Ronnie opened for Purple in 1974. I didn't know anything about Ronnie. I just heard him singing from my dressing room, and I ran up to the stage and I went, "Who the hell is that?" And we became such good friends. And of course, Doug has played with Ronnie and lived with Ronnie, and I've known Ronnie. We've both known Ronnie forever, and we hold him in the highest regard. Not only was the greatest metal singer, but he was a very, very kind human being.
Yeah.
A good man. A kind, loving, funny guy. Let me tell you.
I just, every time I see a picture of him from a different era or something, I'm like, God, he was just so amazing. and I feel so privileged to have worked with him and got to know him and be friends with him and stuff. And I'll tell you, on the road, when I joined his band, classic heavy rock was starting to make a comeback, and it was like a perfect storm. And we got on this tour with Dio supporting Deep Purple and the Scorpions, and Ronnie he had a blast. It was all the band and the crew on one bus, just kind of rebuilding.
Yeah.
Eventually, he split it up. He got a band bus eventually again, but in the beginning of when I joined, it was everybody on one bus together, and then Wendy would be there. We had the funniest nights, just sipping wine and laughing and telling stories. It was the best, man. I'm so happy that I have that in my heart, those memories.
I do too. He was a wonderful, wonderful man.
I'm glad. I always remember when there was that Heaven and Hell show where just because Ronnie had passed, you were one of the principal singers that went and did such justice to his songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Ronnie and I were very, very close, and we loved each other's work, as you know. When I'm really close with Tony and Geezer, and when they asked me I jumped at it because, maybe Ronnie probably would have wanted that, we're very close friends, and it was my honor to stand there to honor his legacy. Again, he touched so many people, but he was a brother to me. He was very, very gracious in his life. I knew him from the very start, and I watched him grow immensely, soulfully, beautifully gifted, an amazing lyricist, amazing vocal. But again, more importantly, he was a kind, considerate, loving, wonderful man. No one greater than he. He was the greatest.
And Doug, one thing that I remember is that just before his sad passing, that there were plans to do like Magica 2 and 3, and there was a single Electra that you had coming out before the tour that got cancelled.
Yeah. What were you going to ask about that?
Yeah, so I was just going to ask, kind of in closing, whether any of the kind of that Magica 2 or 3 stuff will ever see the light of day. If you got any idea?
I really don't. I know they've got some music that was unreleased. They went through his computer. I have a track that we started to. It was the initial idea for Electra that Ronnie had demoed himself playing guitar and bass and singing, and he wanted me to put a solo on it. And so I put a solo on it, and it's a really haunting song. It's never been heard. But then when I came over, he goes, "No, let's go in a different direction." We went somewhere else and rewrote Electra. But I don't know what plans he had was. All I know is that he wanted to go and do a tour in the UK and in parts of Europe in December or November of 2009. And the reason he wanted to do that, was he, like Glenn said, he was very thoughtful. He wanted to keep his band guys working. And he also wanted to prepare himself for being free to do the Heaven and Hell tours the following summer, the festivals and everything. And he, as we know, he got sick, and 6 months later he was gone. The day that the night that he passed away, Glenn and I were together. We just by chance we were together in Bologna.
In Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Glenn and I jammed together that night, and then we were at dinner, and we got the call from Wendy saying that Ronnie was not going to make it. He would wait for us to get home to say goodbye, but when we got home, he had passed during that night.
Very sad.
Yeah.
So I guess the spirit of Ronnie lives on in his music, but then in all the bands and musicians he's collaborated with or was friends with, his spirit lives on though through the music that you create. And the great news for people is that Holy Ground is a great addition to the pantheon of great rock albums. It's a great new chapter for the Dead Daisies, and I'm looking forward to hearing what people think about the album. I think it's a really strong album, and people that wanted to hear it, you've got the new single that's out, and then you've also got the Lockdown Sessions EP, so you can hear slightly different versions of it, and there's even a dance version of
Unspoken.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Woo! Get in the discotheque, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
so-
know, a lot of people groove into that, so I'm happy about that.
Glenn is very particular about these things, and I heard about that, and then I didn't know what he was going to say, but I watched the video. These are two famous German guys that they do dance mixes, and they asked to do it, and the management said, sure, why not? And when I watched the video, I thought, I wonder what Glenn's going to think. But I was really like, it's so different, and it's still really cool, you know. I was like, oh, cool, whatever, you know.
So the great thing with Dead Daisies fans, you've actually got 3 versions of Unspoken to get into. There's the Dance of the Dead dance version. There's the Lockdown Session semi-acoustic version, and there's the Holy Ground full album version. So people can.
Which is the best, in my opinion. That's the best.
So
Yeah.
that's great, guys. It's been wonderful. We could talk for hours, but I'm sure there's plenty you need to be getting on with. Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you back here really soon.
Andy,
Thank you, Andy. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure
You're
speaking to you.
welcome.
Hey, everybody in the UK, we love you. Can't wait to be back home. Thank you kindly. We love you.
Feelings mutual.
Guys,
Thank you. Take care.
be safe, and we'll see you next year.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Peace and love. Peace and
Bye.
love. Bye.